We'll take our next question from Steven Chubak with Wolf Research.
Hey, good morning, Peter. Good morning, Gary. Morning, Steve. Maybe a somewhat more nuanced question just on the advisory outlook by geography. Certainly, especially in light of this morning's announcement.
What's going on, guys? Man, this is a call from PWP earning call. I was actually on it, and I was like, man, why not record some of this call? So here it is.
Taking on the advisory outlook across the different geographies.
Sure. So Europe right now is really kind of a tale of two cities. On one hand, it's a perfect storm. The war in Ukraine, enormous disruption in the energy complex, very high stress in sovereign budgets and sovereign debt levels, and add to that all the things that we're dealing with here in terms of the recession, inflation, supply chain, everything else. So on one hand, it's kind of a perfect storm over there. On the other hand, and this has been a very interesting development for us, which is that there are areas of urgency which propel activity in Europe. You'll notice that the numbers, I don't want to overinterpret July, but the July M&A numbers in the whole market in Europe are actually quite a bit more attractive than the U.S. And we believe that's due to this the areas of urgency which are propelling activity. For example, energy transition, whether it's renewables or energy tech or hydrogen or electronic or EV infrastructure, that is propelling activity. Also, large companies looking to raise capital who may not be able to raise it in the financial markets are selling assets, often in the infrastructure space. Europe is behind in consolidation, telecom, banks, etc. And there's a much higher level of startups in fintech and mobility and healthcare. So it's an interesting market where there are plenty of concerns, as you rightly point out, but there's also another side of the story, and that's keeping us busy over there.
Well, thanks for that color. And for my follow-up, Peter, you had mentioned that you're looking to take advantage of some of the recent disruption and investment opportunities that might be emerging. Was hoping you could provide some context as to what level of gross partner adds we should be contemplating and whether you can sustain a 64% comp accrual while leaning into some of those investment opportunities, given the more challenging revenue backdrop you cited.
Yeah. So this year, just to level set, we have either elevated or hired or have agreed to hire 8 partners. 3 are promoted from within the firm, and 5 are either here or have agreed to join. Last year, the apples to apples number to 8 was 10. We elevated 3 partners internally and hired 7, and we're not finished in the year yet. Of course, we're only in August. We definitely have our eye on a very specific growth plan in the firm. It's the same plan that we articulated when we entered the public market, and we will continue to hire partners. We feel that they are open to conversations almost without exception, and we think there's still an enormous supply of bankers who will enter the independent space, whether it's us or someone else. So that's our strategy is very much to grow through the hiring of partners, and we will continue to do that.
Yeah, Peter, I just add on comp margin, as you saw, we continue to accrue for the year at 64%. That's sort of our best estimate as of today. I think our view for the year is we're still quite comfortable with our medium-term guidance, which is the mid-60s comp
comp ratio. We're not going to get more specific than that right now. But that's really kind of the state of where we see things today.
Helpful color. Thanks so much for taking my questions.
Thank you, Steve.
We'll take our next question from Michael Brown with KBW.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
So, Peter, appreciate the commentary on the restructuring business and the latest trend that you're seeing there, and you noted that there's a potential for some pickup in 2023. Can you just talk about the size of that restructuring and debt advisory business, either in terms of the revenue contribution or the dedicated partner headcount for that business, to try to think about what that potential lift could be next year?
Sure. Well, to answer your specific question, we have 7 partners in our restructuring business, and we have a broader set of partners in our overall capital solutions business, which really covers the broad topic of credit advice with respect to our clients. I will just make a comment on the restructuring opportunity and elaborate a bit on what I said a minute ago. Right now, the stressed companies are still benefiting from the capital that was available to them last year and before. But the reason that we're positive ultimately on the restructuring opportunity is because, right now the high yield index is 300 or so basis points higher than it was. But for even more stressed companies, so say triple C companies, interest rates are 2 times what they were. So that's going to cause a challenge, particularly when you look at maturities coming forward of both high yield bonds and leveraged loans, which in the next 3 years is almost $700 billion. And so we feel that our firm is well positioned for that. As I said, it's not going to happen tomorrow because of the capital that was raised last year and before, but we do believe it's coming.
The one thing I might add to that, Peter, is I think our visibility on that isn't tremendous right now. In other words, because a lot of these companies have a little bit of that breathing room that Peter just alluded to, if there's a pretty material improvement in rates and in the environment in the meantime, that obviously could work the other way in terms of resurgence and activity next year. We're in a very volatile environment, and so I think how large a contributor restructuring ends up being next year is going to be, obviously it's going to be very dependent on what happens in the environment in the interim.
I guess if you had to frame it maybe historically, and I understand your business has been evolving quite a lot over the last few years, but if you can frame it historically, I guess what has been the rough contribution, and then when you're thinking about the restructuring outlook here, is there any additional color on where you're seeing some of that opportunity? I'm sure it's across sectors, but is it potentially going to pick up more in Europe first and then the U.S.? Any view on the rest of the world here? Or just any additional color would be helpful.
Sure. So we don't disclose, as you know, the contribution of our restructuring business or our credit advisory business to the total. But what I will say is that if you look at the market and you look at the industries that are most represented in the distressed category, so I believe that approximately half of all triple C credits and leveraged loans trading at less than 80 are in the TMT space, the healthcare space, and the industrial space in that order. And so, that's as good a proxy as any as to the areas of activity in the restructuring space going forward.
Thanks, Peter. Very, very interesting. Maybe just one clarification for Gary. The second half guidance on revenues, is it fair to expect that that's a bit more fourth quarter weighted, just given the seasonality of advisory typically?
today's call. I would now like to turn the call back over to Peter Weinberg for any additional or closing remarks.
Great. Thanks, operator. Thank you, everybody, for joining the call. We appreciate it. Please feel free to follow up with our team, and we look forward to chatting with you at the next quarter.
This concludes the Perella Weinberg Partners second quarter 2022 earnings call and webcast. You may disconnect your line at this time and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.
Okay, guys, so that was the earning call. I wish I would have started the video sooner. Wasn't thinking. Next time I actually was to start recording the live calls that I be on, and I just want to put it out there, man. Like I say, we're not financial advisors, just willing to teach people things that we're learning. And, these are some great things to know about. And this company, we actually been purchasing this stock for a while now, and I want to say they're on my reoccurring purchase as well. But hey, get involved, man. Do what you can do. Set some things up for your future, for your generations that are coming behind you, and let's build some wealth, man. Let's change our mindset on the way that we spend money. I enjoy spending this type of money and watching it do its thing later on in life. So with that, I say shalom.
Though I may look broke now, I know I'm rich in spirit. Crazy, yeah. Always throwing paper in the shredder pile. You know how that go. Revelation 2:9, yeah, it do shine. Every time I read the scripts, I feel like I'm in my prime. Trying not fall off, I must endure time. And I'ma do the work I know by writing these rhymes. Pray I get refined. Why cop writing fines, trying to take more from the people that's behind. Look, but I know we destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Hosea 4:6 in a lower college. Homie, if you ask me, I blame TV. And these rap songs, they be rapping lately. Got a bunch of brews pushing for a few goals. You either gold or not, then the crack is sold. Hey, see, I ain't rolling in no paper now, but I'm rich in spirit. But I'm rich in spirit. But I'm rich in spirit. Always throwing paper in the shredder, wow. But I'm rich in spirit. But I'm rich in spirit, ayy. But I'm rich, I'm a servant and y'all, but no broke mindset. I just follow the laws and it do come correct. Turn to Proverbs 13, verse 7. You can make yourself rich and have the soul of a peasant. So I turn to Luke 12, 15 and 19. That's why I try not to covet anything. Look, I don't love the world nor the stuff that's in it. Always getting stressed till I did repent it, ayy. But whoever keep his word got them riches that can last. I don't really care how many white faces you have. Mark 4:19, brothers getting choked. That's why I still always praying for some hope. That's why we still breaking out of this yoke. That's why I still gotta wave up these folks. Gotta plant a seed that won't take this like a joke. Hey, let me know, hey. Though I may look broke now, I know I'm rich in spirit. I know I'm rich in spirit. I know I'm rich in spirit. Always throwing paper in the shredder pile. I know I'm rich in spirit. I know I'm rich in spirit. Hey, I know I'm rich in spirit. Let's see what Yahusha say. Let's go to Revelations chapter 2. Verse 9. I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them who say they are Jews and are not, for are the synagogue of Satan. All praise to the Most High.